join very soon.
Yes. Hope so.
So I will share the clip, maybe the one which was going on. So this was the mantra 4 recitation, which was just going on in the background.
Yes, that is which cassette did you put that on?
It's on YouTube, Mataji. Īśopaniṣad versus recitation.
Okay.
It's from Lotus voice videos.
Okay.
There are many different recitations being put there, and this is one of those. But I will share the link here, and maybe later I will share the link on WhatsApp group as well.
It's lovely. Yes, it's really nice.
Yes, it's beautiful. Okay. So let's get started. So we have been doing mantra 4. Mantra 4, based on what Srila Prabhupada Ji has compiled, the Shri Īśopaniṣad, which we follow. Let's do a quick Mangla Charan, and then we shall resume. Ajnana-timirandasya Jnana-jana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadavayam Rati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yudapad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pramami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kirpao Sindhubhyaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachat Deshitarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev Maharaj ki jai, Samved Bhaktavrinda ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe Hare Krishna. So, welcome to the series of Shri Īśopaniṣad. And what we have done so far, we have covered the basic mantra of 4. And of course, we have before that the first theme of first 3 verses. So very quickly, if we say the whole 18 mantras of Shri Īśopaniṣad, and currently we are on the second theme, which is from 4 to 8. The Ishvara can be understood by spiritual vision, and within 4 to 8, if we split, then we have 4 to 8 that we need to understand Ishvara by spiritual vision. But then currently focusing on 4 to 5, and then this says Ishvara is inconceivable by our normal intelligence. We can't understand. And then focusing on number 4, a lot of different things which Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji has mentioned based on the purport given by Srila Prabhupada ji. So the very first thing, that absolute truth, 80, absolute truth can be understood by speculation. So we can't just mentally think and understand Krishna. We could try to understand the scriptures, but in the guidance of bona fide guru and the association, not just by ourselves sitting in our home these days alone, no, but in the association. Because then the realizations we get is not from just one person, but that realization comes from the whole sampradaya. And that's why it's so important to be in association. So even a bona fide guru would not only say that this is what I believe, this is what I understand, but this is what sampradaya has said. And this is what sampradaya conforms, adheres to. And in this respect, so Krishna's childhood pastimes, we can't, if we try to understand, we can't understand them. Like at the age of 4 days, a child is so dependent on parents, but Krishna has started killing big, massive, huge demons. It's inconceivable. And there are many pastimes like that, but obviously the childhood pastimes, they are very easy for us to understand that we can't understand. No normal, ordinary human child could do what Krishna did it when Krishna came around. And then if we can't understand, then how can we understand? So first, it says that we can't understand, but we can't understand from mental speculation. But we can understand from spiritual vision. And we get that spiritual vision from spiritual scriptures. And then the very first thing is neither uncertain speculation nor certain incomprehension. So it doesn't really matter whichever way we try, it's very hard. We can't really understand Krishna. But gradually could be revealed through increasing devotional dedication. And this is where we get to that we need to get into devotional service. The more and more service we will do, the better chances are that we won't be able to understand, but it will be revealed to us. And then the way it makes a bit more sense to us, that we can't see God at the moment, but we can still see and feel the energies of the God. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You know that revelation that comes from within,
Yes.
that may happen or they may not happen in this lifetime, isn't it?
True. Very true. However, it's so important that the process should start.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's all about process. And there was another sessions I was in, and it says, so the acharyas, they have said that it doesn't happen in one go. So for example, sometimes we have in the kitchen, we have a very, very, very dirty utensil, like sometimes we make rice pudding, kheer in it, and kheer is burnt. So normal utensils, so we can just wash it normally with the normal efforts, or sometimes you put it in the dishwasher. But sometimes even putting in dishwasher, next morning when you check it, they are still dirty. And then you have to bring it out and then you have to push it hard. But when we clean it before, so sometimes what do we do? If the utensil is very dirty, we just rinse it before we put it in the dishwasher. So first we rinse it. Second, we put it in the dishwasher for 3 hours, or the whole cycle goes for 3 hours, but maybe for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, it washes. And that's the second phase. But still, if it's not done, the third thing, when we got it in our hand, twice it's been tried. Third time we will again try it. But if we had tried it initially, then it would have taken much more efforts. And now it's only the last bit which is left. And this is what happens, that it says, so somebody had asked the question that, well, how come it happens that somebody asked the question to Srila Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, well, somebody like me, I've been there with you for so long, and very similar question a devotee asked from Gautam Buddha also, that I have seen a lot of people come around and they have been enlightened, but nothing has happened on me. And something very similar, somebody asked Srila Prabhupada that how come I've been there for so long, I can see very minute changes, but not massive. But I've seen many others and they come in touch with you and they get into so motivated devotional service and you can see significant changes in them. How that happens? So Prabhupada said, because you don't know that how much spirituality they have done in their past life.
Yeah.
So it could be that for you, it's only 10% done, but for them, maybe it's 90% done. So when they come, they're only looking for the last bit. And as soon as they get it, they are done. But for you, even if I will give you 20%, because you only did 10%, it's only 30 now. But for them, even if I give them 10%, they had done 90. They are already on 100. So half of your work with them, but that was the last bit of it. So that's how we can't compare. And it says sometimes we go on book distributions as well. And in book distribution, somebody will see the book from the distance, somebody will hold the book, and somebody might do the discussion, and somebody might take the book. And somebody might take the book and also give the donations also. So there are different level. Now it says that the first person who has just looked at it from the distance, that's also Sukriti. That's also added that that person has seen it. And the next time when the person maybe will get the chance, maybe just go nearby and touch Bhagavad Gita and then get a bit more closer to association. This actually happened with me. I remember I was in Paris. Well, from Paris, we went to what we call New Mayapur, which is in nearly in the Midlands of France. And from there, so that's very remote place. So from there, we drove for half an hour and we went to a little town. And we were doing Harinam Sankirtan on the streets there. So from one side to the next side, we were just walking and singing. And there is a devotee, he came around and he had big trays in his hands and he was dancing. And for a while, I observed him. Then when we stopped, I asked him that what was there in your hands in the trays? And he said, I made sweets. I said, okay, so do you know that you just got associated with us? He said, my sweets shop is there. And for many times, I saw you guys, you come around and I never got the chance to come out. Then once I thought, okay, this time when they will come, I will go and check with them. So the next time, he said, I went out. So all the time I was inside, this time I was on the road when the devotees came. And then there's always somebody doing the book distribution there in Namhata also. So somebody was doing it. Then again, I didn't touch, I saw it. But the next time I thought, okay, let me have a quick look on that. Then once I got the book, the next time I went around just following you, keeping a distance because I didn't know what were you doing. Then he said, then I got into it, the Mandali. He said Mandali, and which is like the whole street. And he said, now I understood, because he read the book as well, he understood the philosophy. He said, now I would like to do some service. But what kind of service I can do? I can't sing, I can't dance, and I don't even know a lot of philosophy. I've just read one book of Srila Prabhupada. But because Prabhupada said, whatever you have, you can give it to Krishna. So I have sweets shop. So that's why whenever I see you guys, I bring my sweets. And wherever you go, I offer sweets to everyone. So this is how the revelation is. It's not straight. It could be, of course, as we said, that if somebody has already been reached to 90-95% to say, then a lot of devotees we have seen, then they just get one little spark and that's it. But for others, usually it goes gradually. We gradually move from one place to another, and then that's how revelation works. And it's a beautiful process because it's a self-realization. Nobody could say that it doesn't work, and because if it has worked for us, it's like if we are feeling hot. So this slide we were getting in the next one. So if we are next to the fire and somebody will say, no, this fire is cold, I say, well, I don't know what you're talking about, because I'm feeling the hot. And this is what Krishna consciousness is. If somebody will say it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for me, you say, well, it's a different thing, because it's a self-realization. It's working for me. I'm feeling blissful. If you are not, then you got to think what wrong you are doing. If I'm sitting next to the fire, I'm getting the heat. If you are not, then you got to think, because this is fire. The dharma of the fire is to give heat and energy. So I should feel it. So, but Hare Krishna, great
Hare
question.
Krishna.
Thank you so much. So this is how we understand the Lord and Lord's energies. So Lord, the sunlight, but the energies we can. So we have seen this. And then right at the end, we discuss be apart, be not apart. This is the language, and these kind of languages Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji is used, where as the analogy, the example we just discussed, that whatever service we could do, and Krishna has given something to everyone. And that's why Srila Prabhupada said it's individual. It's between us and Krishna. It's voluntarily. Nobody will pay to us. Nobody will force us to do something. And it's spontaneous. It will come from the heart. We would really like to do it. And maybe we don't need to plan for it. We will just feel for it. And that's how Srila Prabhupada defined it. And we have seen great devotees, how they have performed devotional services. And these are just few, but of course there are many, many more. It's such a nice congregation, Krishna consciousness devotional congregation, global, wherever you go. So this is how far we did. So these slides now, well, a couple of slides now, are from Radhesham Prabhuji. So the Prabhuji explains, so the connections, he explains that why Atma cannot act in knowledge of the Lord. Thus, therefore, the Lord is inconceivable, like we just discussed, that we cannot understand Krishna, because Krishna is a spiritual, and our body, our senses, they are material. I mean, there are so many things which we do wrong materially. So to understand the spiritual Lord with these material senses, very, very, very hard. Well, it's impossible. So that's the reason we say Krishna himself reveals to us, reveals to the devotees, pure devotees. So the connection between 4 and 5, the one we were just saying where we are, and then next one where we will move on to, that conception of Supreme Lord, that it's inconceivable, but Krishna is inconceivable, Krishna's potencies. And then the energies which are around, like we said, we might not be able to see the sun, but we can still have sunlight. And this is how usually devotees, they get in Krishna consciousness in all the material aspects, because they can always feel the potency of Krishna in whatever phase of their life they are, whatever they do. If they are students, they're reading, they get the knowledge. And Krishna says, Sarvasya Chaham Hriday Sanne Vishnu Matha Smrite Jnanam Amovacham. So all the knowledge comes from, all the jnana comes from. And then when they forget, so one of His Holiness, one of the Maharaji was saying a mantra. And recently at Mana, at Bhaktivedanta Mana, and he forgot his verse. And then he said, this always happens to me. Whenever devotees like you, great devotees, are sitting in the front of me, I forget. But then he said, but hey, this is the opportunity to remember Krishna, because Krishna said that I give you forgetfulness. So thank you, Krishna, for giving me that forgetfulness. So these are the great devotees, that whether we are doing something good, Whether we have a lot of knowledge and we are reciting so many things, Krishna has given us the skills and ability to do that. And if in case we forgot, well, Krishna has given us the forgetfulness. Now, how somebody will go sad? There is no reason to be sad because Krishna is the source of everything, whether it's knowledge or forgetfulness. So devotees would never take the credit of remembering anything. And at the same time, they won't take any blame of forgetting anything. But of course, that doesn't mean that we should not practice, because more we practice, more we remember, then it always helps in preaching. But this is what we said. This is how Maharaj explained it. And this is what we are saying here. So the main theme is Krishna is in his abode, yet simultaneously everywhere. So like sun is where sun is, right? Sun is not moving from there, but sunlight is reaching to us. But this is not realized by speculation, but his mercy. So revelation happens when we take it. Right. So this is one of those great slides which Radheshyam Prabhuji puts together, where in one slide, he summarizes the whole purport. So Srila Prabhupada provides the purpose. Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji dissects the purports, make the themes of those purports. And Radheshyam Prabhuji, he puts together one slide for the whole purport. And you can see different devotees, they have different skills set, and they utilize all of those in the service of Krishna. So we have already covered these, but for the completeness, if you go, so how to understand the Lord, so knowing the Lord. So it says, position or the potency of Krishna. We need to understand Krishna, but we won't be able to understand Krishna. But what we can understand is the position of Krishna, the potency of Krishna. Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead, right? He's not another demigod. He's the supreme Lord, and he's a person. And he has inconceivable. This is the most important. Inconceivable. We can't even conceive. If we can think of that, then that was not what they mention here. Because what they mention here, what the devotees are mentioning here in inconceivable, is like what we can't even think. But Krishna is enjoying in Goloka, but at the same time, Krishna is there everywhere in the form of Paramatma, in the form of Brahman. So Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, then right at the end, Bhagwan realization. So Krishna is the absolute person, absolute truth. And there's so many proofs there, so many verses we have. All right, okay. So in the next slide, we will go into detail of three principal energies of Krishna, and we will go a bit more detail. What are three different energies of Krishna? And we can go a bit more into those three categories. But who can't know Krishna? So it says, somebody who will have mental speculation, it's very hard. Somebody who has mental speculation, that is very hard. Why? Because mind is traveling at the speed of wind, right? Mind sometimes thinks that, sometimes thinks that. And how we can employ that kind of mind to understand Krishna? No, we can't. We just can't. It's not doable. So that's something which we can't do. And then it says, what happens after that? It's a great philosophy, but the great philosophers, if they try to understand just by the philosophy, then it's hard. So what Prabhupada ji always said, that Krishna consciousness is not the armchair philosophy. So it's not that you just sit and you discuss. It's a devotional service. It's the action. It's a verb. It's not a noun that you know, oh, devotion. Yeah, bhakti. Oh yes, I'm a bhakt. Bhakti. No, you got to do something. We got to do something. We got to do devotional service. So it's not just a philosophy, it's a devotional service which we got to do. Using limited, of course, we all have limited capacity, limited potency. Using all that, if we try to understand Krishna, then we can't. And then it says, ignorant living beings. Now, of course, there are many ignorant living beings, unfortunately, because they don't have the access. And even if they get the access because of their own hindrances, they can't understand that. So because of those ignorances, we can't. Forgets his particular activities under Lord's will. So this is where it comes that Krishna has given us And we will see one of the three principal energies, we are one of them. And then we had the flexibility, we had the flexibility to choose Krishna or to choose Maya. We again and again choosing Maya. But pure devotees, again and again and again and again, they choose Krishna. And that's the only difference. Rest just follows. So this is who can't understand. But now, why can't one know him? It says in Bhagavad Gita 10.2 that even great rishis can't understand. So because great rishis, they sit in the meditation and they try to understand it. Right? Of course, great rishis can have Brahman realization, they can have Paramatma realization, but what Krishna is mentioning here in 10.2 Bhagavad Gita, that what they can't have is Bhagwan realization. And then parts can't appreciate the whole. Remember, so Krishna said, Jiva Loka, right? We living entity, we are part and parcel of Krishna. We are like a drop, and Krishna is like ocean. Now, how could a drop could understand the ocean? Can't do it. Right? So similar thing, we are the parts and we cannot understand the whole. It's not just possible. And then influence of material nature is there. Now, even if we try to, when we are either ignorant or we are always in passion, try to, especially in material world, so much career orientated, or sometimes even in spirituality, we get so much passion, or we would like to build a temple, we would like to distribute so many books, and we forget that all those things are there for as a devotional service, not as a rajas, not as a passion. But of course, if we remember that this passion is for Krishna, then that passion could be spiritualized. But if not that, then we fall into goodness, because goodness itself is a part of material natures, and we would like to transcend all three of them. And then who is taking care of that? Maya Devi. So Maya Devi's role, the job she has been given, the service she has been given, is that she will bewilder. She will keep trying to bewilder us. And because of these reasons, it's very hard. We can't really overcome these. So at the end, who can understand? So we need to understand the positioning and the potency of Krishna. There are people who can't, and there are reasons why they can't. So it's not like it's their fault. They just can't. I mean, it's hard in being in material world. But then, do we have any scope, or we don't have any scope? So very nicely, Prabhupada ji explains that, of course, we do have the scope, because somebody who can is devotees. And then, of course, it mentions devotees, it mentions pure devotees. Pure devotees, or devotees who are in association of pure devotees, devotees who get the mercy of pure devotees, devotees who get, like what we were saying, the association, and because of the association, they are revealing. So a lot of spiritual masters, they reveal Krishna to their disciples, right? So the pure devotees, and how? Through Lord's mercy. So none of the guru would ever say that based on my power, I give you this. No. Well, it's the mercy of the Lord, but I have understood not only the mercy of the Lord, but mercy of my Guru, mercy of the whole Acharya Sampradaya, Guru Parampara, and I give you this. So you need to be a devotee, but of course, everything happens through Lord's mercy. And then it says, carefully playing our part. Now, even though we say it's a causeless mercy, the reason being it's a causeless mercy because we cannot do anything to claim it. We can never say, I have prepared so well in the exam that the examiner will have to give me 100 marks. No. If the examiner will like our answers, then the examiner will give us 100 marks. But what we can do, we can give the best answers. But we have to prepare for the answers. And this is this part. We have to carefully play our part. We have to play the part. So like we saw the end of last session, the different devotees, they are playing their parts, right? And so we have to do that. But even after doing that, we cannot claim it. It got to be still the mercy. And then using our initiators. So we got to, it's not like we will just wait, oh, Guru Maharaj has initiated and that's it. We just wait. If he will come back asking for something, we will do it. No. Guru Maharaj has already said that spread the name of the Lord. Then we got to just day after day. So Srila Prabhupada, after how many years, he said, now is the time. I'm going to move at the age of 70, nearly 70, that I'm going to start to fulfilling my spiritual masters. The personal instruction he had received from his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. How many years back? So it got to be our own initiative. Using powers to execute Lord's will. So Srila Prabhupada has always been considered as Shakti Avesha Avatar. Like he was given so many powers, right? And whatever the powers or the skills we have, we got to execute, we got to employ, we got to deploy those skills, powers, the knowledge in the service to execute Lord's will, what Lord will. Like Krishna said to Arjun, fight. So whatever the knowledge he had gained from his teachers, Dronacharyas and Kripacharyas, he employed all those weapons in the service of the Lord, as per the Lord's will. And that's what we need to do. We could be engineer, we could be accountant, we could be medical, we could be a grahastha, we could be a brahmachari, we could be a sannyasi, vanprastha, homemaker, anything, we could be a student, any phase of our life, wherever we are, Lord's desire, if we just use all our skills, knowledge, experience for Lord's desire, that will be carefully playing our part. And then we can hope to get the mercy. We cannot claim it, but we can hope by the Guru Kripa. Guru is the one who takes us to the Lord. And then, of course, at the end, we got to have the submissive attitude. So as I said, we cannot claim it. We can always work hard, but we're going to say, oh, I have done that much. Like Srila Prabhupada, yesterday evening, we went for a walk and I was discussing with a friend of mine that what a great attitude Srila Prabhupada had. What he did, no one else has done it. Like any spiritual, not only in our sampradaya, we look for other sampradayas as well. No one has, no other spiritual being, spiritual master has done that, opening so many different temples, so many different countries, so many different nationalities. It's not like he opened temples in America, England, and only Indians are going there because the temples are Hindu temples and majority of the Hindus live in India. So only the Indians living in America or England or other native places, they are visiting. No, he transformed the local people from different backgrounds, people. So he did not have any differentiation between people. He could see, this is what the pure Bhagavata is. When we see people, we see bodies. But when Bhagavata, Srila Prabhupada saw a devotee soul, just a soul, not a man or a woman, not a hippie, not a rich or poor, just a pure soul. How he could employ each and every soul in the service of the Lord. So this is how Radheshyam Prabhuji has put together in one slide the whole purport. And there is another Prabhuji who has done it, and my apologies because the next slide is in Hindi. Now I've taken these screenshots from his presentations, and this is the first time I heard him, but the way he has explained again in the slides, that's very nice. I thought that we use it for our discussions, and hopefully we will get a clear picture. So we mentioned in the last slide the three energies. three energies, principal energies of the Lord. And that's what gets more detail here. So I will read it. So I will read in Hindi as well and English. I will try to translate sometimes English to Hindi or Hindi to English. It can't be a literal translation, especially when it comes from Sanskrit. But for example, when we say religion, dharma is not religion, but loosely translation, that's what we do. But it's not actually the translation. It's not a literal translation, because people can change religion, but dharma cannot be changed. So the fire's dharma is to provide heat and energy and to burn. We cannot take that attribute away from fire. But the religion, people can change, and people do change. So that's why religion is not the correct translation of dharma, which is in Sanskrit or in Hindi, but loosely, because in English language, we don't have those words. So, Hare Krishna, हिंदी भाषी भक्तों के लिए अभी तक हमने हिंदी में कोई बात नहीं करी, क्योंकि हम जो डिस्कस कर रहे थे तो सब इंग्लिश में ही था. अभी जो प्रेजेंटेशन है वो हिंदी में है, पर उसको हम इंग्लिश हिंदी दोनों में करने की कोशिश करेंगे. हमने देखा पहले चैतन्य चरण प्रभु जी की प्रेजेंटेशन देखी, वो किस तरीके से पूरी प्रेजेंटेशन को थीम्स में बांटते हैं और फिर उसको समझने की कोशिश करते हैं. उसके बाद में हमने राधे श्याम प्रभु जी की प्रेजेंटेशन देखी. वो प्रभुपाद जी के पूरे पर्पट को एक स्लाइड में फ्लो चार्ट के रूप में, डायग्राम के रूप में फिट करने की कोशिश करते हैं, और बहुत ही अच्छी तरीके से एक ही स्लाइड के अंदर, क्योंकि फिर वो हमें समझना, समझाना और याद करना और अपनी लाइफ में इम्प्लीमेंट करना बहुत ईजी रहता है. अब ये एक प्रभु जी हैं जिन्होंने हम भगवान को समझें, क्योंकि भगवान को हम देख नहीं सकते, लेकिन जैसे हम सूरज को नहीं देख सकते, लेकिन सूरज की रोशनी, सूरज की किरणें, सूरज की किरणों से जो ऊर्जा आती है उसको समझ सकते हैं, उसको फील कर सकते हैं, उसे देख सकते हैं. उसी तरीके से भगवान की पोटेंसी, भगवान की जो एनर्जी है वो हमको ज्यादा अपीलिंग है, उसको हम ज्यादा अच्छे से महसूस कर सकते हैं अगर हम भगवान को नहीं भी देख सकते तो, क्योंकि हमारे पास में वो आध्यात्मिक चक्षु, आध्यात्मिक विजन नहीं है, स्पिरिचुअल विजन नहीं है जिससे हम देख सके. सो द वेरी फर्स्ट थिंग इट सेज ऑन द टॉप, परम भगवान के लक्षण. Param Bhagwan, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Lakshan, like what we said, we will look into more into the potencies and the energies. And then this says A, B, K, so it's like, it could be considered as like A, B, C. And then we will go into A, B, and C. We will go a bit more into the detail of each. So the first one is Nisht hai parantu man se bhi tej hai. So this is like we are getting into more detail about Krishna's energies, and going forward, because this is Shri Īśopaniṣad, so everything is about Ishwar, direct. So a lot more about the God, about the Lord, we will find out. And again, this is the beauty of Vedic scriptures. No other religion could, the main religion, the main organized religions I have gone through and I've discussed in details with the teachers in those religions, that they don't have so much detail of the Lord. So if you take any other religion, not to name, but you don't have those details. So nisht hai parantu man se bhi tej hai. Like again, as we said, that Krishna is inconceivable. From our mental speculation we can't understand. शक्तिशाली देवता भी उनके निकट नहीं आ सकते. So शक्तिशाली देवता, like 10.2 Bhagavad Gita said that those rishis, they can't even say. But here we are talking about demigods, like even Indra, who is the leader of all the demigods, even he can't understand. What about Indra, the father of Indra, Lord Brahma, also got bewildered, and that's why he wrote Brahm Samhita after that, when he came to Krishna. So that's the second thing that even devtas can't understand. वे सभी को नियंत्रित करते हैं और सभी के परे चले जाते हैं. So this is where we said that at the same time Krishna, at the same time sun is there, far away from us, but the sunlight is there with us, right? So same thing, Krishna is there in Goloka Dham, but all the potencies, all the expansions of Krishna are all around us. And Krishna controls everything, even though Krishna is so far. And there will be many different verses with the similar concept that which is like seems to be contradicting that how come it's possible that Krishna is sitting so far, but still he controls from the distance. But we can understand, as we said, that sun is so far, but sun's energy is reaching here. And this is what it is. Krishna's potencies are there. Now let's go into A, B, and C, which is in each. And this is the Prabhuji, Madhusudana Prabhuji. I don't remember from which temple he is. Could be from Delhi temple, considering pure Hindi. प्रभु जी दिल्ली टेम्पल से हो सकते हैं क्योंकि उन्होंने हिंदी में बात करी है, लेकिन और भी बहुत जगह हिंदी में बात होती है तो कहना मुश्किल है. लेकिन which is A, तो पहला जो पॉइंट लिया है कि अपने धाम में निष्ठ. तो हम भगवान के लिए कह रहे हैं भगवान अपने धाम में है. लिखा है नाम और कार्य. नाम भगवान का, तो हमें भगवान के नाम के बारे में मालूम है, भगवान के धाम का नाम. Now again, no one else knows where the God is in other religions, but we not only that we know, we also know the name, we also know the distance, we know how far it is, roughly it's given. And then it says, Brahma Samhita explains 5.37. Of course, there is also a verse in the Goloka chart which says that, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 5:16 is also a verse which also explains that there are different levels what we understand in Goloka chart. And this is where it says that Nam is Goloka. So Bhagwan ka jo नाम है वो गोलोक है. And कार्य क्या होता है? He's always the pastimes are going on, and they're eternal, nitya. They continue happening. And then मन से भी तेज है भगवान. भगवान को समझना बहुत ही मुश्किल है. सर्वव्यापी है भगवान. तो सर्वव्यापी, like omnipotent, everywhere, every time, and he knows everything. It's so hard for us to understand how this is possible, but only Krishna can do it. But at the same time, we can understand sun is another great example. Wind is also there. So especially if we see the sun is the same sun, which is there in India, which is there in America, which is there in London, same sun. The sunlight, the potencies are different, but the same sun. So it's the same Krishna. Potency, because of the same potency, different people, different activities are happening. All right, okay. So this is where it comes, Asankhya Shaktiyan. Sankhya is counting. Asankhya, something which we can't count. In Sanskrit, whenever we put A at the front, so this alphabet A, whenever we put in Sanskrit at the front of anything, then it negates it. So Sankhya is the counting. Asankhya is like we can't count. And we have seen many verses. We have this which opposes whatever the meaning is, and it says Shaktiya. So the what we were discussing, potencies. And now we will try to understand Krishna's potencies. So number of times we have mentioned it before, but maybe we haven't gone into that detail, but we can do now. So the very first thing is Atranga. So there are three main categories. First is Atranga. So Atranga is internal. So Andar Atranga is internal, and then Bahiranga is external. So we call Krishna as internal energy and Krishna has external energy. So this is internal and this is external. But then we have Tathastha. This is marginal. Marginal because this is in between. It can go towards internal, it can go towards external. Now, internal is actually spiritual. Everything in the spiritual world is because of internal, and everything in external is here in material world. So Durga ji, she is the in charge of external energy, and then she's taking care of everything in material world with that energy. तो भगवान को अगर हम समझने की कोशिश करें तो भगवान की जितनी भी शक्तियां हैं, मुख्य शक्तियों को हम 3 भागों में समझ सकते हैं। एक अंदरूनी अंतरंगा, जो भगवान की अपनी आध्यात्मिक शक्ति है, जिसकी वजह से अध्यात्म पूरा चल रहा है, आध्यात्मिक जगत। और एक बहिरंगा, जो कि जिससे भगवान ने यहाँ पे भौतिक संसार बनाया है। और उसके बाद बीच में तटस्थ शक्ति। तटस्थ के बारे में हम बात करेंगे, शायद सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट तटस्थ ही है, क्योंकि उस शक्ति के अंदर हम आते हैं। तटस्थ शक्ति से भगवान ने जीवात्मा को बनाया है, तो हम किसके अंदर आते हैं? तो ये जो जीवात्मा है, लिविंग एंटिटी, वो हम तटस्थ में आते हैं। अगर हम आगे देखें, अतरंगा को अगर हम देख रहे हैं, तो अतरंगा के अंदर संवित, संधनी, हलादनी। संवित, संधनी, हलादनी. We will see the further understanding of each, but so spiritual energy of Krishna could be categorized into these 3, right? And we will see each of them. And then it says आध्यात्मिक आकाश, so spiritual world, जहां पर भगवत धाम स्थित है, उसी का प्रकाश है. So what we call the Brahm Jyoti, or everywhere the spiritual vision is based on spiritual energy, and they are basically either one of them, and we will see the difference between them. But then Tathastha, so all the demigods, all the humans, and everybody else, so Devta, Manav और अन्य जीव, तो ये सारे के सारे हम जीवात्मा कह सकते हैं, हम लिविंग एंटिटी कह सकते हैं. ये वो है जो कि यहाँ मटीरियल वर्ल्ड के अंदर है. वो सारे के सारे जितनी भी आत्माएं हैं वो तटस्थ में आती है. और तटस्थ में इसलिए क्योंकि हम अतरंगा शक्ति की तरफ भी जा सकते हैं, हम अध्यात्म की तरफ जा सकते हैं, और हम बहिरंगा की तरफ, एक्सटर्नल एनर्जी की तरफ जा सकते हैं, हम मटीरियल वर्ल्ड की तरफ, मटीरियल एनर्जी की तरफ जा सकते हैं, जो अनफॉर्चुनेटली हम करते हैं. लेकिन हम खुद तटस्थ हैं, मार्जिनल हैं, और भगवान की ही एनर्जी है. इसलिए जो लोग ये कहते हैं कि हम ही भगवान हैं, वो बिल्कुल वैसे है कि हम कहते हैं कि समुद्र में से एक बूंद निकाल ली और हम कहें कि ये समुद्र है. तो अगेन क्वालिटी वाइज वो समुद्र है, लेकिन क्वांटिटी वाइज वो समुद्र नहीं है. अगर हमारे ऊपर धूप पड़ रही है तो हम कहते हैं हमारे ऊपर सूरज पड़ रहा है, सूरज की रोशनी पड़ रही है. तो सूरज है, बिल्कुल सही बात है, सूरज की एनर्जी है, लेकिन खुद सूरज पूरा का पूरा नहीं है. तो अगेन क्वालिटी में सेम है, क्वांटिटी में डिफरेंट है. इसी चीज को हम आगे देखते हैं. Bahiranga, the external energy now. And then this is most of the time we discuss tamas, rajas, and sat. Tamas, what we say, ignorance. And then we have rajas, passion. And then we have sattva, which is goodness. So goodness, passion, and ignorance. So 3 modes of material nature, they are external energy. So internal energy, which is spiritual, external energy, which is material, and we all are तटस्थ, which are marginal. तो जितना भी आध्यात्मिक है वो सब भगवान के अतरंगा शक्ति है, जितना भी भौतिक है वो सब भगवान की बहिरंगा शक्ति है. और हम जो जीवात्माएं जितनी भी यहाँ पर हैं, उसके अंदर ब्रह्मा जी भी आएंगे, उसके अंदर देवता भी आएंगे, उसमें सभी मनुष्य आएंगे, सभी जीवात्मा आएंगे, नाग आएंगे, जितने भी देवी देवता है वो सब आएंगे. वो तटस्थ हैं, उनके पास विल पावर है, चॉइस है कि वो अतरंगा की तरफ जाएं कि वो बहिरंगा की तरफ जाएं. भौतिक जगत इस शक्ति की रचना है. So the material world is based on this energy. So using this energy of his, Krishna created material world. and also maintained. So again, coming back to this same original message, which says Krishna's potencies, nisht hai parantu man se bhi tej hai. About Krishna is inconceivable. The second one we have just seen, शक्तिशाली देवता उनके निकट नहीं आ सकते, है ना, वे सभी को नियंत्रित करते हैं और सभी के परे चले जाते हैं. This is a bit more detail. Many other verses will explain this. But then the next one, it says, Bhagavad Gita 10.2, what we saw, that is very hard. So here we said, this is B. So we have discussed the potencies of Krishna, internal, external, and marginal. But now we are going for the B, which is Shaktishali Devta. So it's hard to understand. Of course, Bhagavad Gita 10.2 says that Mahan Rishi Tatha Sur nahi jaan sakte. Sur nahi jaan sakte, to asur kaise janenge Bhagwan ko? Param Bhagwan unke sotra hai, ve simit hai. So again, the same thing that we are also the Krishna source of us, but we are limited. Our senses are limited. How can we understand Krishna? Very, very hard. तो हम ही सीमित हैं, हमारी इंद्रियां सीमित हैं, तो हम भगवान को किस तरीके से जान सकते हैं? बहुत मुश्किल. कोई भी उनका पूर्ण रूप से नहीं जान सकता. तो कोई भी, no one could understand or conceive Krishna or Krishna's complete energy. No, because we are limited. Krishna is unlimited. So how come a limited thing could understand unlimited? किस प्रकार से उस दिव्यता को जान सकते हैं? So how? Is there any solution? जैसे स्वयं भगवान से ही जो कि वेदों के सूत्र हैं. So now we don't know Krishna, but if Krishna wants to explain himself, if Krishna, so when Krishna was there in the battlefield, Arjun said, Krishna, I would like to see you. Krishna said, okay, I will show you my universal form, but you won't be able to see me. Then what Krishna said? Krishna said, I will give you the spiritual vision to see you. So we can't understand Krishna, we can't conceive Krishna, but if Krishna wants, if Krishna desires, then Krishna can reveal himself. तो जिस तरीके से अर्जुन को भगवान ने दिव्य चक्षु दिए कि मेरे विराट रूप को देखो, उसी तरीके से हम अपनी बुद्धि लगाकर भगवान को नहीं समझ सकते. लेकिन अगर भगवान अपने आप को हमें समझाना चाहते हैं, तो हमको भगवान दिव्य चक्षु भी दे सकते हैं, भगवान हमको नॉलेज भी दे सकते हैं, रियलाइजेशन भी दे सकते हैं, सपने भी दे सकते हैं. आज मॉर्निंग में हम चैतन्य चरितामृत की क्लास के अंदर डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि जो चांद काजी थे चैतन्य महाप्रभु जी के टाइम पे, उनके सपने में नरसिंह भगवान आए थे और उन्होंने सपने में चांद काजी को समझाया. सो चांद काजी समझ नहीं रहे थे, लेकिन भगवान ने खुद आके उनको समझाया. और उसके बाद अब इतने सालों के बाद भी चांद काजी की जो समाधि है, वहां पे भक्त चांद काजी लिखा हुआ है. तो सिर्फ इसलिए क्योंकि वो इतने फॉर्चुनेट थे कि खुद भगवान ने, ऑफ कोर्स चैतन्य महाप्रभु जी भी उनके सामने थे, लेकिन खुद भगवान ने नरसिम्हा रूप लेकर उनको सपने में दर्शन दिए थे. तो भगवान चाहे तो, लेकिन हमको अपना पार्ट करना पड़ेगा, जो कि डिवोशनल सर्विस है. उन्हीं से जान सकता है जब वे अपनी कृपा से अपने को प्रकाशित करेंगे. सो अर्जुन डिड नॉट फोर्स कृष्णा. सो ऑफ कोर्स दुर्योधन वांटेड, could not. So Arjun requested, right? And even then Krishna has the will whether he will fulfill the request or not. Krishna said, Arjun, you are my friend and you are my devotee, so I will give you spiritual vision. And this is where we are, where we understand how we can understand the mercy of Krishna. So Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is that time of the day now where we close. Next week, we will conclude this verse. We have been doing this verse, but this verse, as we can understand, is so important. And we have seen some details of Krishna's spiritual and internal energies, and we will go into more detail as well. And then we will finish the last bit left here. But mostly what we have covered, we are just trying to summarize and try to understand that from a different perspective. So thank you so much for being here. And thank you those who've been listening on YouTube as well. I look forward for your association next Saturday, 9:30 in the morning.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Samved Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Jai Shri Radhe.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dhanyavad.